Second, but for Celtics and Heat, James Johnson, destroying Kyrie with the tomahawk.
James Johnson has roundhouse kicked the basketball out of, when a ball gets jammed between the rim and the backboard, he has roundhouse, yes, he has. It's on video. He's one of the greatest athletes in the league. He's also a martial arts expert. Kyrie, you got to hold that L.
All right, Clippers, Nuggets.
I would say you were prepared for that highlight.
Nikola Jokic grabs the defensive rebound, makes the perfect full-court pass ahead to Jamal Murray.
Kevin Love, LeBron James, typically that's what we see from them. Jokic, one of the best passers we see in the NBA. Great timing and anticipation, knowing that he's running out at the three. He's going to be available, but right in his lead glove. Great play.
All right, college hoops now. Murray State's John Morant looking like classic Vince Carter.
Oh, my goodness. That Vince Carter dunk was so nasty. I'll never forget that one. This one right here, this guy's not going to forget this one. I got people texting me saying, hey, Chris, the last time you went over this highlight, you missed some stuff. I was like, no, it's Friday. I ain't trying to get fired, homie. Don't be trying to send me spicy stuff.
We see what happens there. See, you know what happens. You know what my reaction watching that highlight is, though? How this young man could have avoided it.
What, try to block?
Go for the block, not for the charge.
Oh, yeah, that's what Nick Wright would have done.
Man, I wouldn't have stood there like a charge.
Not to talk about.
No, you told me that. You're not one of the executives.
Shit, I almost.
Yeah. You almost got a phone call from one of the executives.
All right, let's move on to what we're looking at on the TV screen. Cowboys. Amari Cooper was a big part of turning around Dallas this season since joining the Cowboys. The team is 8-2. Saturday, he'll be facing Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters, who he faced twice a year in Oakland. And if you ask him, that is definitely an advantage for him.
Obviously, I know their tendencies, but at the same time, they know mine. So I think it definitely helps me. You know, I played against those guys twice a year, both of them. I know them in and out. I know how they play. And I'm able to tell, like, my teammates, quarterback, you know, their tendencies, so it definitely helps.
Do they know you in and out? How do you combat that if they do?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think they know me in and out, no.
I love that it works one way, but it doesn't work the other way. So that's an interesting point. How much will experience really factor into this? The fact that he knows those guys pretty well. He played them twice this season.
Yeah, I think it's important that people understand that, especially when you play against people twice a year that Amari Cooper talks about, as far as in your division. It started for me when I was in college because we used to get great scouting reports on the defensive backs. And we had a lot of Big Ten defensive backs, Purdue, Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, guys that were going to be playing in the NFL. But it started early for me playing against Purdue and Rod Woodson. My coach pointed out to me, Chris, you're going to be playing against this guy for a long, long time. So once I start facing him my freshman year, you start figuring out tendencies and you watch clips of them. You like to, you know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what they like to do. So Rod and I, not only are our college careers mirrored each other, but then our pro careers mirrored each other. He's one of my teammates there in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I was able to experience early how much it will help you. So you start to get a book. I taught Randy Moss to be able to do it. Even when we went to the Pro Bowl, we would go over the defensive backs there, what we knew about them. So he started to develop a book on the defensive backs that he would be facing not only that season, but throughout his career. So Amari Cooper, he does have intel. I like the fact that he realizes, too, and telling the reporter, it's not an advantage for me because they face me also, but realizing what do they like to do, but more importantly, what don't they like to do, because in pressure situations, what is Wade Phillips going to do with these corners? And Amari knows that in pressure situations, they're going to play man-to-man, and they're going to try to be physical, and they're going to try to come after Amari at the line of scrimmage. That's what they did when they were in Kansas City and in Denver as far as the corners, and that's what they're going to do in this matchup against the Cowboys.
All right, I think a lot of people watching don't totally understand about tendencies of corners. I think people look at corner play, and it's like, all right, if you're man-to-man, the job is just cover the other person. So when you were... Let's talk about a great player, right? Darryl Green. You played him throughout your career, right?
Yes.
And at one point, you guys were in the same division, Washington and Philadelphia. And so you had a book on Darrell Green, as great as he was.
Yes.
What are the types of things you have written down or mental notes on that you want to avoid or that he wants to avoid? Like, what is actually in there that we're talking about?
The one thing you have to know about Darrell Green, among many things, is he has amazing recovering ability. He's one of the fastest human beings you'll ever face. He's undersized, but he will play bump and run. And undersized doesn't mean that he's not physical. He is very, very physical. He's not a person you can talk to. He's very pleasant going about his business. You're not going to be able to get into his headspace. So those are the 4 or 5 things you get on Darrell Green, and you vary that from Deion Sanders, Rod Woodson, Aeneas Williams, Darren Woodson, who's up to the heart, Ty Law, Champ Bailey.
So for example, and obviously I've never played against Aqib Talib, but I would imagine one of the things in that is going to be that he will talk, and you can get in his head a little bit. Like Aqib Talib, he's going to be physical. We know that. We know how good of a player he is, but we also know he is incredibly emotional. Now, Amari's not a talker, but I wonder what the experience of going against Aqib Talib. Marcus Peters, by the way, very similar makeup to Aqib Talib. I think it's one of the reasons they thought those two would make a nice tandem. So obviously these guys have experience with Amari Cooper, but I don't know how useful their experience is in comparison to his, because he is a different player right now than he was the last year and a half in Oakland. He is a guy that has gotten back to who he was a few years ago than he was the last season he played in Oakland when he played against both these guys that combined.
One thing I used to always tell Randy, once they ride in the car, they know how fast the car can run. So they have tremendous intel in Amari Cooper. What are the things he's special at? Man, his change of direction and his releases off the line of scrimmage. So, no, they do have tremendous intel. They know how fast he is, they know how explosive he is, and they know that you must immediately try to get him on the ground to prevent him from getting going, and he has elite speed down the field. So there is tremendous intel that the defensive backs are taking into the contest.
How big a part of this game plan do you think Amari Cooper is going to be? He had a couple of big games with the Cowboys, and then a couple games where he was there and wasn't utilized.
Cowboys running out of receivers now.
Yes.
Alan Hearns, I mean, bless him, he had a terrible injury. Cole Beasley, the first time he touches the ball, they're going to stop the game because he's going to come over.
He's been nursing a high ankle sprain for the last month.
And that's an impossible position to play with that injury. Like, you can't change direction. You saw it first time he caught a ball in the...
They had to go get taped
give him
again.
credit. Like, he came back in the game, but it's Amari and Michael Gallup. Like Michael Gallup, finally, we saw in the wild card round, Dak and him got a bit of a rapport after, what was it, 46% completion percentage targeting Michael Gallup. But whatever the passing attack for Dallas is going to be, it is going to be Amari Cooper-centric. There's no doubt about that.
Question marks as far as receiving. Cole Beasley's been injured the last month. He's got a high ankle sprain he's been dealing with. You see it every time that he's tackled on the field. He's hampered as far as trying to continue. So Jarwin, the tight end, week number 17, we saw him show up with the 100-yard game. Can he get back involved in the passing game? He's nicked up. So Amari Cooper, he's got to have 10 targets. It's impossible for them to win without Amari Cooper having a big game. So not only are these guys not be available typically full go for the game, they haven't been available for practice. So all they've been throwing to is Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. So Amari Cooper's got to have a big day in the Coliseum.
All right, break time coming up.